Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with expert timing. There was funky Chinaman from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody needs their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a taking from the hip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But the Lord with expert timing.
Right, I know that this is a stereotype. I do understand that this is a stereotype, and I know that we've only just literally got into the show, everyone. But hi, how you all doing? I thought black people were able to dance.
Oh, right. That's fucked the video already, isn't it?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that most people that were watching this were able to see that and go, yeah, he can't dance. Anyway, I'm still apparently presenting, so we will get rid of the presenting. Because, you know, Boomer here in the room. But apart from that, I'm CSG, and welcome back to another Common Sense Guys chat, or Cat's Room chat, or I don't know what the fuck it's called anymore. I keep on changing the name, so who cares? But we're going to be talking about, well, Brexit and Miss May, and hopefully she's fucking off somewhere. I am with a good friend that I haven't been able to speak to for a very long time. I'm with Magic Bollocks. How are you doing, sir?
No, I'm fine, CSG. Same as usual. I mean, I couldn't resist this one. We're talking about, as we said just before we came on, the sexiest woman in the United Kingdom at this very moment.
See, she is somebody who can dance.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I mean, I barely contain the bulge in my underpants when I saw that for the first time.
To be fair, you can barely contain the bulge in your pants just at the best of times.
Well, I know that, but it's more of a sort of a permanent swelling. I'm sure that hopefully it's not cancerous. It's just too much blood concentrated in one area.
I imagine it has something to do with the size.
I'm glad I've never let Mrs. Bollocks give her side of the story.
To be fair, we know what her side of the story is. Surprise sex.
Ah, you mean stranger danger? Yes, that's definitely the best form of it, isn't it? There's always something a little bit more joyful in non-consensual sex.
I always say donkey punch.
Really?
Yeah.
I normally say squirt and run.
No, see, that's just a little bit of exhibitionist. You want to do the whole thing.
I'm not quite sure what's going to happen when you get the serious political pundits coming here for, debate on whether it's good or bad that Mrs. May has decided to resign after Brexit. And here we are talking about the size of my penis and whether rape is good or not.
Welcome to the Common Sense Guys show. We do have a theme, honest. We do know what we're doing.
Just a normal Wednesday night conversation between me and CSG, really.
To be fair, is pretty much the normal conversation it used to be for months and months.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I don't think that many stones were left unturned.
No, we did not have any taboos.
No, definitely not. There were certainly no topics that we felt was off limits. Probably a good thing, though, that we didn't actually have, the record button on at the time. But we've decided that caution is something that can now be disposed of out the window.
True. We do not need to censor ourselves. YouTube do that for us.
But in fact, now you said that, I'm going to switch chat to live chat, because I was unaware of this, is that top chat is very censorious, and I'm not seeing all the messages, and I want to see what everybody's got to say.
Yeah, I just realized that as well.
So everybody in the chat, say whatever you like tonight. I'm going to see it all. I may not see you next time Common Sense streams because you've probably all been banned, but for tonight, you're free to say whatever you want. And it's not my channel as well, so knock yourself out.
Yeah, well, he's got over fucking another 1,000 more subscribers than I have about.
All in good time, Common Sense, all in good time.
It's kind of hard to build a channel when you're not doing anything to build the channel, though.
Oh, well, I keep telling you, don't I? I keep telling you, what you need to do is that strip stream. You know, it doesn't have to be, seedy. It just has to be, you know, do the news like you normally do. You know, go through all the news snippets that you bring up, get the guests on, get Crumple Point, get Mr. Quinn, whatever. Doesn't matter who, but as every bit of news you go through, bring up the screen grab, and then every time it comes back to you, another bit of clothing's missing.
No, I'm not doing this. You've been talking to B, haven't you?
No. I think it's a fantastic idea because everybody in the chat can then think to themselves and have a little game with themselves. What item of clothing is going to be gone next? You see?
What about the bits that you can't see behind the camera?
So I still thought of that. You need to get 2 cameras going, you see, and then you can just switch between the 2.
Oh dear, that's not good.
No, it's either that or you can have a glass table or something, so you can always position it in just the right angle.
Let me lose a bit more weight first.
Oh, I don't care about a few folds, mate. You know, we just want to see some skin.
Oh, I can show you skin. There's lots hanging. Definitely lots hanging.
Oh.
Speaking of hanging, what about Theresa May?
Oh, well, there's not much of her to hang, really, is there? Except by the neck. But it seems like all her colleagues want to do that to her at the moment, don't they?
It does, actually, to be fair. Did we want to listen to her little speech thing that she gave the 1922 committee?
Only if I can touch myself.
You can do that without permission. You should know this.
No, I know, but it is your stream. I wouldn't want to ejaculate without permission.
You can. No, you don't need permission to ejaculate. It's just let me know that you're aware.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was, you know, I don't normally have unaware wanks. I'm normally in full awareness of what's going on.
Yeah, but I'm not because I can't see you.
I get it. I know what you're on about. You want me to sit on my hand, let it go numb, and then assume it's somebody else's. Gotcha.
No, I want to see you finish.
I can give you an audible account of me finishing.
No, it's not good enough. I need to see the physical.
Oh, it's ruined then. It's ruined. I'm sorry. I can't provide that service at this moment. Oh, thinking of wankers, Mad Dodge is here. How are you, sir? All right, mate?
Oh, fuck me. Is he actually awake?
He's here. How are you, Mad Dodge? Always nice to have you in the chat.
He's actually awake. I'm very surprised. I'm very, very surprised.
Yes, he's a wonderful chap. See the nice little bowler hat that he's now replaced his icon with.
Yeah, I'd never understood that with him. I don't understand why you would want to change your icon. Everybody knows what your icon is. Then again, I can't really say much because mine was a cat.
Yes. Yeah, I've never changed mine. It's been consistent.
You've changed yours. You've changed yours twice.
Shush.
I know the history of Magic Bollocks. I was there at the beginning.
I know. That's there's lots of things in the beginning I'd like to just try and forget about, but we'll pretend that everything started at the beginning of this year.
Yes, this year.
Yeah.
Not a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, so we get on with it then.
Sorry.
Should we get on with it then?
I don't want to get on with it. I don't want to do it.
What you don't want to talk about? Lovely May.
Oh,
dear sweet May.
Brexiteers swings behind deal after PM reveals plan to quit. Before we go into May, before we go into her deep and hard, yes, I know I did it on purpose. Let's talk about the MPs that are now supposed to be supporting the idea of her Brexit plan, or should we say her internment plan, as in a way of keeping us in Vascal plan. Let's go with that. Most people understand what I mean by that then. Are now going to back her deal, her plan, to get rid of her. Now, don't get me wrong. She's a shit prime minister. Is it worth making us go into a Vascal state from the EU to get rid of her? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure on that. I'm not that ideologically opposed and dislike her that much that I would give up my freedom to get rid of her. But I could be wrong. What do you think, Mr. Bollocks? Because I'm sure you have a take.
Oh, I'm loving it. It's almost at the moment like a lot of people are saying this is all pre-planned. This is all calculated. They know what they're doing. I'm definitely of the conviction now that they haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing, and they are scrabbling like worker
I haven't heard
ants.
that word before.
What's that?
Scrabbling.
Scrabbling, yeah, scrabbling like worker ants, desperately trying everything in their power to stop us leaving without the without a deal. And I think the reason is not because we're going to get this economic Armageddon like they try to present to everybody and all the press try to present. It's because they know if we leave, proper hard Brexit, whatever you want to call it, there's no chance in hell we'll ever get back in. They want us to have a deal, not so much May's deal, because even that, even with the backstop and all the other issues that come with it, to them it's not close enough to the EU as they would like. They want us to have a sort of like a Norway, Switzerland kind of deal still in the EEA, or to remain in the customs union, or even better for them, keep us in the single market. Because what they want is to have the opportunity to allow themselves to remain on the EU gravy train. If we go for hard Brexit completely out, there is no recourse for us ever rejoining. And also, it'll easily speed up the demise of the EU as well, because as the second biggest contributor with the mounting debts that the ECB currently has, you've got Italy's banks on the
economical problems. We Brexiteers have no idea about economics, don't you know?
Well, you think that, wouldn't you? But you talk to most people who have, shall we say, Brexit leanings, and I don't just mean people who voted Brexit. I'm talking about people who may have voted Remain because they didn't feel they knew enough then, who seem to know a lot more now. And if they've got any sort of understanding of the basic economics of how the EU is ran, they know that the euro is going to be the catalyst for bringing it down, because once one of those Mediterranean countries goes or defaults,
you mean Greece?
I do think it's probably more likely to be Italy, and that's because they now have a completely anti-EU parties running it. Whereas in Greece, even though they had the Cypriot government, who's supposed to be the the one that was going to stop the third bailout, they were going to have this referendum, and if the people said no more. And then the EU basically said, we don't give a shit what your people say. We're giving you this bailout anyway. And they've now got a government effectively that's so weak, it cannot stop the EU from doing what it wants. Whereas Italy, I do generally believe, have now got the people in place that will just keep sticking two middle fingers up to the point that they would happily bring down the currency of their own country and thus bring down the currency of the entire 27 nations, the whole European project, and thus destroy it.
It's very interesting that you say that, because if we're going to go from that type of logic, then what about Hungary or Poland? Wouldn't they also be in that sort of category of being able to do whatever they want, to be able to do whatever they need, rather, to bring down the European Union and make sure that they're not over-sanctioned anymore, to the point where they're not over-stipulated anymore? As far as I'm aware, they're being heavily sanctioned, being told that they cannot get any funding from the EU as well, while they're opposing the democratic process, apparently. So they're not actually getting any funding whatsoever, and they actually are paying the EU money just to be not funded at this minute in time.
Yeah.
And then you've got Holland. Then you've got Holland as well. That is literally like, 4 or 5 days ago, that has got another anti-European, or anti-EU, should I say, party that's put into place. The whole of the EU seems to be going anti-European Union, including France. At least the people of France, anyway, not necessarily Macron, obviously, but the people of France seem to be going back towards the way they were when they had the general elections.
Well, I'm waiting for Macron to be forced to bring in the military.
He already has.
What I mean by that is not just bring them in, but actually open fire on the public, because
Yeah, well, not with physical bullets. He's using rubber bullets and he's using water cannons at this moment in time.
Because the whole idea of having the army and the police separate is that the army is supposed to be there to defend the nation from its enemies, and then the police are there to enforce the laws of the land. And the idea being, if the army ever opens fire on its own citizens, that's basically the declaration of the state saying its own people is its enemy.
So, using that logic, would you say that when Catalonia was having its independence vote, regardless of what people think of the vote, when the Spanish police were literally beating and dragging their citizenry away from the polling stations, was that them saying that they are the enemy of the people?
Potentially, yes. By the definition, if the state uses the army to attack its own citizens, then yeah, effectively the state
it wasn't
is
the army. Unfortunately, it was the police.
Oh, it was the old bill, was it?
Well, it was a mixture of Spanish police, Hungary police, French police, German police, and a couple of others.
In that case, then no, that was just the police being heavy-handed, shall we say?
Yes, they were keeping the peace.
Yeah,
by stopping people exercising their democratic right to leave a political union.
They were spreading love through the art of baton.
Yes. I've watched a porno on that. It was very interesting.
Really? That was the best 5-10 minutes of love you've ever seen.
Oh, it was more like a minute. I don't last long.
Oh, okay.
Theresa May promises to quit if Brexit deal passes, because I've now gone to where she actually says that she's thinking of quitting rather than doing the fucking Sky News live shit. So the Prime Minister reveals her plan to stand down at a meeting of the Tories in 1922 committee. Oh, she looks so sad. So sad. Sorry. Right, never mind. Carrying on. Theresa May has promised she will quit as Prime Minister once her Brexit deal is voted through. But wait. Wait a minute. So that's the reason why all the Brexit MPs are so trying to get her Brexit deal pushed through then, to get rid of the old bat. Isn't that blackmail, or is it now still called political manoeuvring?
Well, opportunist, I would have thought, for several of them, because I know.
Well, I meant her.
Oh, her. Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about something relevant then. In terms of what she's doing, she's just positioning herself into the best position to have a fairly lucrative career once she steps down.
Similar to Mr. Tony Blair, I'm assuming.
He did very, very well for himself, I've heard.
Yes, he still is, as far as I'm aware. So being able to talk to foreign... Anyway, that's a completely different story, the fucking cheating bastard. But what I was meaning by Theresa May and this being blackmail is that she knows that nobody wants her to be leader. None of the Conservatives want her to be leader. Nobody wants her to be leader in the country. So she's positioned herself to use this as a massive bargaining chip, as you quite rightly said, probably for lucrative means and probably for ways of benefiting the EU. Look, ladies and gentlemen, what I'll do is I will step down, but you got to vote for my deal. And if you vote for my deal, you'll be rid of me. The only problem is the European Union will still be fucking in control, and I would have had to laugh, sticking two fingers up. I was right, fuck you, I was right.
Yeah. Well, she could have been righter if she'd have just,
Don't be silly, she's a feminist.
No. What, is she, though? Has she ever...
Yeah, she's worn the T-shirt and says that she's for feminist issues.
Oh, what? You mean the T-shirt that was made in third world sweatshops?
Yes, the one that was made in China, why people were not getting paid minimum wage. Yes, those ones.
Yep. I mean, they love feminism over there, don't they? Because it's really lifted them out of poverty.
I think that's capitalism, but yeah, probably feminism. It's an ism.
But yeah, she could have done something amazing in terms of making the Tories unbeatable the next election by just doing Brexit, which is go to the EU. This is our agreement. Well, what we will agree to. If you don't agree to it, then we're leaving WTO. And that way it would have been, well, you wouldn't have had any of this last minute posturing. And we would be leaving in 2 days, regardless of the outcome. And, you know, the vast majority of the northern working class would have realized that, oh, fuck me, the Tories actually got us out, the thing we wanted. And Corbyn's Labour was doing everything to keep us in. Maybe I will vote for them next time. And they probably would have won the next election in a landslide, even with May as leader.
I can definitely see your idea on that, but I think I don't want to give him fucking credit because he's a pig fucker. But I think David Cameron actually played a fucking blinder, because we don't talk about the fact that David Cameron, like Tony Blair, handed their premiership over to their proteges, as in obviously Tony Blair with Gordon Brown and David Cameron with Theresa May, to the point where if nobody wants to believe that Theresa May was one of his proteges, just look at how many times that David Cameron actually protected her under his leadership, and how many times he moved her rather than getting rid of her.
Do you know what? I would pay very, very good money to introduce you to Gordon Brown so you could say, Blair's protege, just to see the look on his face.
Well, let's be fair, he was his protege. Tony Blair was actually the one that was able to hoodwink the whole of the country, and Gordon Brown was just the one that fucking tried, and everybody saw through him because he wasn't intelligent enough.
Hey, don't forget their little agreement. You know, the way that he managed to talk Gordon out of not standing against him after John Smith's death, because they knew. So, you know, he was promised he would have the most freedom a chancellor would ever have had before. And so, you know, Gordon was very much, he had his ambitions for the big job, right? You know, from, well, probably the second he entered, you know, Westminster. So to call him his protege, that he would probably, his conversation with you would be then limited.
To be fair, his conversation with me would be limited anyway, because I would just call him a cheating, fucking lying cunt.
It would probably be similar to the Gillian Duffy incident. You know, he would get in his car and he would slate you to buggery.
He can slate me as much as he likes. The only problem with that is that his lies would be put out into pasture, not mine.
Yeah, that's true. And besides which, he doesn't have an election to lose this time, so it wouldn't be quite the same. But
that sounds familiar to Tony Blair doing all the rounds.
Yeah.
I never understand why people like Tony Blair, John Major, and others of ilk, former prime ministers, if you will, that were, well, in at least in Tony Blair's case, John Major is not so sure, but getting back to the point at hand, that you have past prime ministers coming forward to say, oh, Brexit is a really bad idea. Okay, but we voted on it. We decided it. Where were you when we were deciding to vote on it? Oh, that's right. You were fucking nowhere. Now it comes to the point where we've actually decided that we were leaving. You come out of the bloody woodwork like bloody trolls under a bridge. I've got you, my pretty. I've got you.
Well, you could argue the same thing about Obama. He shouldn't really have cared because he was in the final years of his presidency anyway. But I guess the amount of money he got from people financing his election campaigns, that he still owed quite a few favors. So he had to come over and he had to, you know, although apparently we now know it was Cameron who asked him, can you go out and say something? But his whole visit here at that particular time, that wasn't just a coincidence. He was here deliberately to, you know, give the message, which is Brexit, no. And
yes.
And
the leader of the free world telling another country that it can't buy for its own freedom.
I know other countries interfering in other countries' elections. I mean, I just don't understand that. I don't.
That's never happened in any Middle Eastern country from a certain US. I can't remember the last letter.
But it's so yeah, you will find a lot of these ex-bought and paid for politicians coming out and saying that doing anything against what the establishment wants is very, very bad. You must not do it. I mean, don't forget as well. Was it a week before the Scottish independence vote when the opinion polls came out showing that there was something like was it between a 5 and 10% lead for Leave?
Yeah.
And you had the entire British establishment descend on Scotland. You had David Cameron saying that they were going to give Scotland more money, and you had they even dragged Brown out to say that, it'd be terrible. Trust me, I'm only the man who, economic policies fucked this country up. And
don't forget Tony Blair went there as well because he was born in Scotland, don't you know? He's part Scottish, don't you know?
Really? Oh, okay.
Apparently so, yeah.
Which part of him is Scottish?
I would probably have to say his big toe because that's probably the only honest part of him.
Oh, I was going to guess his arsehole because I've heard that described of a lot of Scotsmen.
I'm not getting into that one.
But
you do make an exceptionally really good point for all of the old sort of bought and paid for politicians, the old ones where they know that people will have sway whether you like them or don't like them. See, the thing is, if you've got Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and David Cameron all coming up to you and going, vote for independence, you can guarantee that everybody would do the opposite.
Yes.
But it's unfortunate because they didn't bloody do that. So that's funny. But with the people with EU, it's funny that John Major, literally the person who decided not to have a vote if we were going to join the political union. I can't ever say it particularly because I say magistrates, but it's not magistrates, it's Maastricht's deal.
Maastricht.
Yes, Maastricht's deal, which basically put us into this political union with the European Union. We didn't get a vote on it. The fucking House of Commons didn't even get a bloody vote on it. He just pushed it through. Then you had Tony Blair that signed up for the fucking 4 tests or whatever it was for the freedom of movement and blah, 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 without bloody asking anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that the Tony Blair actually did that was actually interesting was that he put it to a vote if we were allowed to have the European Union's euro or not.
I got a feeling that was more Brown's doing because he wanted to undermine Blair's authority. Blair was very, very much pro-euro. And I don't know if you remember, CSG, but around 2003, 2004, we had Project Fear from a lot of similar names who we get now, like Branson and other big billionaire arseholes, saying that Britain would be...
The elite telling the working class that they were wrong and stop voting for the elite?
Well, we were told that if we didn't join the euro, that Britain would be finished and we would be, economic nobody. And just, 3-4 years later, if we had have been in the euro, we'd now be a part of the pigs.
Well, we are part of the pigs. We had David Cameron as leader after that.
Mm.
Oink, oink.
Well, that would be the pig's head, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it still had a bit of air left.
Sounds like a good pub, that, actually.
With the pig's head, yeah, it wouldn't be bad, would it?
Mm.
So her move is a last gasp attempt to persuade her own party to back her EU withdrawal agreement, which has already been twice heavily defeated in the House of Commons. The reason why is because it has the backstop in it, which means that we become a vassal state. This is the point where I was trying to say before. She is trying to use this as leverage, as blackmail, or as people would now use it as the terminology, political maneuvering. To me, it's just fucking blackmail, but political maneuvering. To be able to say, look, lads and ladies, I'll give you what you want if I can take this legacy to say to the European overlords that I got you what you wanted. Brexit in name, but you still as the controllers.
Yeah. I've noticed a lot of conservative commentators of late, like Guido Fawkes, has been trying to give off the impression that, Brexit's dead unless we accept May's proposal now. And lots of them are now saying that, the backstop's only temporary and we'll be able to get out of it. And yeah, really.
No, it's almost like there's been a political shift. I'm not sure how you would cause a political shift when literally 2 days ago everybody was saying how bad the deal is, and somehow now it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting on that one.
Well, if you give the EU the choice of when they actually allow us to leave, do you really think they're going to just say, yeah, okay, 2 years and we'll get rid of our second biggest contributor? We don't need the money.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. We don't need the money at all. Nothing like that whatsoever. We don't need any money whatsoever. Don't need any contributions. We don't need the EU. We don't need them, their tourism. We don't need anything. No. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't really work. It's the same thing with people like now. I'll use Jacobs Rees-Mogg, the good old Mogg mentors. Now coming out and actually saying he will back May's deal simply because he thinks that Brexit is dead. Brexit's not dead. Even the vote tonight, which is to do with 8 votes and everything else like that, 8 choices, it's not legally binding. Even the idea of the government not leaving on a no deal is not legally binding. It is all a show that's been put on to go, well, we voted for this, so we have to do it. We voted to leave in a referendum that's more of a mandate than your fucking puppet show. But, you know, I suppose it all depends on who's doing the voting. Because, you know, I'm more equal than you are, apparently.
Yes. See, this is the problem when you basically allowed a load of people who have a lot of vested interests in us being members of the European Union to supposedly negotiate our departure. It's like getting somebody to close down their own pension scheme, isn't it?
Mm.
You're going to do everything in your power to close it down without actually closing it.
Yeah, you still want all the money and everything else like that, but...
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed of the amount of, you know, the EU is, especially the MEPs, are stuffed full of failed European politicians. Like, obviously, Juncker was Prime Minister of, what's it called? Fucking hell, what's the country he was Prime Minister of?
Was it
Luxembourg?
That's the one, Luxembourg.
Yeah, Luxembourg. And he basically left under a cloud of suspicion and corruption, and is obviously now somehow, and then has made it to, you know, head of the EU Commission. And I know that Blair himself had ambitions of succeeding the head of the EU Commission at some point.
He did. He was trying to make deals to try and get to be Prime Minister of Europe.
Yeah, and then you've got other people that we know of, like Neil Kinnock and his family, who all work for the EU in some capacity, except his son, because he's obviously a sitting MP at the moment. And I remember the bile that came out of his mouth on the 27th, basically saying that I can't believe how backwards and right-wing my country really is. And it's like, you're going to lose your pension, aren't you? That's all this is about. Your £800,000 pension, that's all this is about. You don't think any of that. You're just a bitter
Don't forget his land subsidies as well. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes. He owns a lot of farmland, doesn't he? Yes.
No, he doesn't own a lot of farmland anymore, does he? He owns what do they call it? The resting land, where they actually pay you for not growing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I got my terminology wrong. It's not classed as farmland, and it's like the land that Michael Heseltine owns.
Yes.
They pay you to not farm it.
Yes.
Because
they don't want you to flood the European Union with Euro products, because you know it lowers the rest of them. You know how simple economics is. If you have 20 carrots, then those carrots are going to be expensive. But if you have 200 carrots, not as expensive.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny.
Surprising how economics works and how people manipulate the markets. It's almost like pure capitalism has never been tried. Sorry, socialism.
Well, considering that the EU is one of the biggest protectionist blocks that there currently is, and yet they have the audacity to slag Trump off when he's trying to renegotiate tariffs with other countries.
I found that so fucking funny. I honestly really did. Because when the Japan deal come out and everybody's going, oh, it's an amazing deal. Look at this. It's like, have you read it? Have you looked at the way that the Japan is now not allowed to trade with anybody or do any trade deals without the EU going, yeah, go on, mate. Or, nah. They are now in control of who Japan trade with.
Do you know, I could have told you.
Amazing. That level of sovereignty, giving up for that protectionism of the European Union. Amazing. But Donald Trump, Yeah, you're paying us. You're not paying us the right amount, so we're going to put some tariffs on. Yeah, he bad. He bad. He against democracy.
I could have told you, CSG,
Funny.
then
Really
when
is.
when they signed that deal with Japan
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Oh no! Don't tell me your computer's messed up again. Can anybody in the chat still hear us? Hello?
Apparently not. I'll be back in a second.
Oh, in that case, then I'm going to play a little game with the chat. Right. Since CSG can't hear us and he's got his camera on, would you like to make suggestions about what item of clothing you'd like him to remove? I'm going to say press 1 for his t-shirt, press 2 for his trousers, and press 3 to shave his head. Well, that's 1 for 3. Oh, you're winning at the moment, B. It looks like CSG's going to be a little bald in the morning. Oh, there's another 3. Oh, we're getting a lot of 3s. Do you know, I generally thought a lot of you would want to see him without any trucks on, but apparently, no, you want to see his bald head. Memes 1337 means absolutely nothing. That could be him shaving his ass, for all I know. Ah, now that's a good idea, B. I didn't think of that. Yes, 5 shave his balls. I think what I should do, if I can talk him into shaving his head, then round 2 will definitely be shaving his balls. It looks like Memes wants him to shave his ass as well. Actually, I'm going to say 1337 is shaving his ass with a rusty, broken razor. Well, I'm not getting any negative responses in the chat, so I'm going to assume that that is a go. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Now, is he still gone? Am I on my Jack Jones at the moment? Oh,
you are, but I am now back.
Oh, he's back. Well, I've got some news for you, Common Sense. You better go and get your clippers, because apparently the chat want you to have a bald head immediately.
Bald head?
Yes, I asked them what item of clothing they would like you to remove, and I said top, trousers, or shave his head. And for some reason, they want you plucked like a chicken.
Apart from B, who wants me to shave my balls.
Yeah,
which is funny because, you know, they might well be.
Ah, yeah. I didn't think of that. So always one step ahead. Eh? I bet he's got the smoothest and most delicately soft balls.
I might have some golf balls.
I bet you might have some prunes as well.
No, they're well used, so it's fine.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So, you back now? We all working, everything's... You can hear me and everything's good.
If I get... Yes, I can, yes. If I get donations to a certain degree, then I will do a stream with me shaving my head. Completely bald.
Oh, I like this. Is almost like a form of comic relief, except that we're not going to tell you all that don't donate to Africa, you racists. No, donate to Common Sense instead, because and help him with his bald white privilege.
Yes, because I need a new laptop.
Yes. So start sending the money now, motherfuckers.
Yeah. If I get, I don't know, let's say 200 quid. If I get 200 quid, then I will do a show of me shaving my head off. Shaving my hair off, not my head, because that would be really painful.
If you donate 500, we'll get a Thai hooker to shave it for him.
If you give me 500, I will do a Thai hooker.
He's going to do a Thai hooker while she's shaving his head. He's very dexterous.
Well, she is. I'm not. I'm just going to lay there.
You lazy bastard, you. But no, that's fine. You get what you pay for.
Exactly. 600 and I'll actually do some work.
You know, I'm starting to feel sorry for this Thai hooker now because, you know, she really is working for her pennies.
Anyway, Brexit.
What percentage of this stream has actually been on topic, I wonder?
Now, I would have said around about 40 at the minute.
Oh, okay. Right.
For the minute.
See if
I'm
we can
sure
tip
that
the
will
ballet,
change.
shall we? Oh.
I'm sure that will change. I'm very sure that will change.
Well, you've excited B anyway, talking about Thai hookers.
Yes, I know. I saw the explanation point.
Yeah.
It's good to see that she's alive and well.
It is, and it's nice to know that she has such a fascination with that particular type of prostitution.
I think it's more the fact of me using it, but then again, I'm a little bit biased on that.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. If that's your preference, common sense. Besides which, is that you must be having your stag do coming up soon. So I will order one for you.
Don't mention the wedding. Don't mention the wedding.
Well, hang on. You're saying about donations. Less donations. How about gifts? You see, common sense doesn't want a microwave or a pair of slippers or any of that shit. He just wants good old fashioned hardcore cash.
So I can get my hair shaved.
Wants to buy £1,000 set of clippers, gold plated.
The reason why I wouldn't want a Filipino ladyboy is because of the boy part. Saying.
That can easily be, easily be dealt with. Common sense is caught switching the light off and closing your eyes.
No, it's not.
Oh, it is.
No, it's not. It's still knowing that it's there and feeling it flop.
Oh dear.
I can't believe that I've still got the camera on while I'm doing that.
I wasn't watching you then. I want to see what your expression was. I'm gonna have to back that up. There was that like
just like she
was there just a cheeky little grin that suddenly appeared there, which is that I'm denying this, but maybe no.
No.
Just remember
Brexit.
Not gay as long as you don't touch it.
Is it though? No. Brexit.
The fact I've got you questioning it is good enough for me.
No, I wasn't questioning it. I was questioning
you thought about it for a second, right?
Yeah, is it ever not gay? That's what I was thinking. It's always going to be gay.
Like, come on, get your mind back on Mrs. May. Come on.
Oh, ladyboy. Such a better topic.
I probably could get you at a lower price to do a ladyboy than I could to get you to do Mrs. May.
No. I'd do May for free.
Oh, do you hear that, Mrs. May? That's almost like tax dividend.
Yeah, only so we can hear her scream.
That woman doesn't scream. She just keeps.
I bet you I could make her.
She doesn't scream. She just goes on and on and on.
Even if I have to tread on her foot, I will make her scream.
Well, to be honest, her husband doesn't look like the most fun person you could ever probably go to bed with.
To be fair, I prefer to go to sleep with her, go to bed with her husband. He looks more fun than she does, and he's a fucking banker.
I don't know if banker is the right description. He's just a man who shows corporations the best means of avoiding taxation.
It's a possibility, yeah.
I think I want to have a word with him about my tax bill as well.
I don't think that he goes down to your level, mate.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he goes down to your level. I'm sorry to say.
Okay. So, now I don't know whether you're talking about my height. What is he, about 7'3", or do you mean that he doesn't associate with scum?
He doesn't associate with scum.
Ah, okay. Right. All right. No, that's fine. Just make sure I knew my place.
Make sure you remember next time.
Oh, I certainly will, sir.
So, Miss May told a gathering of the Tories' 1922 committee, "I am prepared to leave this job earlier than I intended in order to do what is right for the our country and our party, the European Union." Shit. I believe that's what she said.
I can't see her swearing. No, she's a golly gosh woman, isn't she?
She definitely is. She's fire and brimstone, if I remember correctly. So, carrying on with her quote, "I ask everyone in this room to back the deal so we can complete our historical do-over, to deliver on the decision of the European people, British people, and the European Union with a smooth and orderly transition to their control. I mean, exit. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I think you're reading a bit too much into that common sense. That's just basically waffle for saying we're going to try and get the longest delay possible.
I actually think it's even worse than that. I actually think it's to the point of, look, you all want me to leave. The only way I'm leaving, guys, is if you sign my deal. I know you don't want me to, but sign it and I'll leave.
Yeah, even if those those hard Brexiters, the RM, even if they did agree to whatever, some acronym that I couldn't remember, even if they all decide to back her, I can't see Corbyn allowing, and I can't see the actual the Blairites backing her deal, because they're still pushing for the second referendum.
Yeah, which is supposedly going to be voted on tonight.
Hmm.
But I can't be asked to stay up and watch that. That can all fuck off. Because it's not a legally binding vote, so I don't give a shit.
What, you mean like 6 million people on the government's petition website?
Yeah, that at least half of them are not even from the UK.
Oh, yeah, but, no person is illegal. So
if you're going to vote on UK stuff, you might want to be in the UK.
Sorry, I went a bit AOC then for a sec.
Don't be silly. You didn't go AOC. You went crazy. I
didn't know she was from Essex.
She is from Essex.
Oh, I'd love it if she was an Essex girl. It would make it perfect then.
Well, you would explain a hell of a lot. Like, isn't she from Jersey? And aren't Jersey almost the same as Essex?
I know someone from Jersey. I don't think they would take that as a compliment.
No, not our Jersey. I meant New York Jersey.
Oh, that's all right then. For a minute, I thought you were being very, very rude.
Would I ever?
Ah, right. Yes. Well, I thought she said she was from the Bronx.
No, that's J-Lo.
Yeah, but J-Lo isn't currently in Congress.
But she's just from another Jenny from the block, isn't she?
Oh, okay. Right, yeah. She's very good at dancing on rooftops, but she's not very good at getting, deals through the Senate.
Yeah. To be fair, she wasn't too bad at dancing. She actually looked like she had a bit of an ass back then.
She
I didn't really small one, but she had one.
Well, you need somewhere to keep your brains, don't you?
Well, that fucked up them for her, didn't it? Because now she hasn't got an ass.
Oh, dear. We always moan that we don't have attractive politicians, and then you get one that's okay-ish, and then...
But is she? She just has a skinny body. Does that mean that she's attractive?
I've talked to a lot of people, and they've all said the same, that, you shag her, but my God, what's good? You'd have to gag her.
Yeah, but would you shag her because she's pretty, or would you shag her because she's crazy? And we all know what we would do with crazy and how crazy girls are in bed.
Oh, wait a minute. This is going back to that conversation again we had about consent. Look, I don't know what her actual opinion on consent is. She takes a very liberal view to everything. So, I don't know. I don't know, mate. It's the memes I've seen of her with those eyes. I just can't get out of my head. She looks like an alien.
That's what I was meaning. That is it a case that people want to fuck her because she's AOC, or is it a case that they know that she's crazy and crazy people are generally good in bed?
Well, they don't want to fuck her because she's A-OK, do they? It's not meant to.
No, they definitely won't fuck her because she's A-OK. No, that's correct. How did we get onto this from Brexit? How did you derail me so easy?
Dear, oh dear. Why did you invite me on? No wonder you only ever concentrate on one story when I'm on now. We never get beyond that.
It takes the whole of my concentration levels to be able to do this. Brexit, but AOC, fucking AOC. How did this happen?
Well, at least she's got one fan anyway. She's probably an ex-Mrs. Memes anyway.
To be fair, she definitely does look like base mama.
I think she might even have furry tendency, so there's a very strong chance.
Scaly, he's a scaly.
He can have her.
Well, yeah, he is, but he's supposed to be a scaly.
Memes is Jesus. Not many people are aware of this.
Yeah, memes is a lot smarter than people give him credit for.
Oh, memes is wonderful. Anybody who gets pissed off with memes is well, a little bit silly.
I'm not going to go down that road because a lot of people get pissed off by memes. I'm not one of them because I know that he's doing it as a troll.
Memes has abilities, and he's very, very clever. And anybody who doubts that, well, then you've fallen for it.
Anyway, Brexit. Miss May, she's leaving. What do we think? Well, she has a chance of leaving while she's forcing people to vote for people. Do we think that this is democratic by any chance, or not? Or I don't know. What do you think on that one?
This is the thing I don't really understand, is that have they now got to the point they generally think we can now get away with this?
Yes.
Which is that we've now got the British public so apathetic that they will just, they'll be angry, they'll read about it in the paper or they'll see it on a website and they go, I'm going to do something about this maybe tomorrow, and then just forget about it. And I accept that, unfortunately, we do have that sort of can't be asked attitude, which is not good. We're not like the frogs, which is, the first.
Hang on, hold your horses. Hold your horses. B has just said that she wouldn't put her dick in her dusty throat. I would, however, cover her in a dog turn and hit her with the lawnmower.
I thought that's how she was courted in the first place.
To be fair, it's B, so probably.
And
anyway, I just felt that I wanted to derail you as you were actually making political sense.
No, that's fine. Now I'm going to be thinking that every time I think of May, because if that is the kind of way you turn that woman on, that maybe there's still a little bit of hope for Brexit, because everybody keeps saying, could she be a closet Brexiter? And this is all just an act. No, I do believe that none of them have an ounce of skill between them. It's one, I don't want my gravy train taken away. And two, I don't want to be a sovereign nation. That means we're going to have to do our jobs. We're going to have to actually act like we know what we're doing, instead of just being rich, privileged ex-Eton boys who just land these positions in Parliament or civil service because daddy knows somebody.
Yeah, I've wanted to get on with this with somebody for a very, very long time. So I'm going to ask you this question because I think that you'll understand it a hell of a lot better than other people that I've asked. When it comes to Brexit, everybody that was against Brexit said that you were voting for the elites of this country to take us out of Brexit. My question is, why is it that all of the elites are for Remain and saying that Brexit would be bad? So what elites are actually pushing for Brexit and what elites are actually pushing for remaining?
What, you mean, what sort of definition would you give for the two blocks?
No, it was more of a case of, how do you classify elite? And if you say that the elite are voting for something, what definition, as you quite rightly said, numbers, are they for the elite? Because I can find more elitists for Remain than I can for Brexit.
Well, I've had this conversation with some people before, some more sort of sane people who are willing to listen to arguments from both sides. And
from all sides, darling, from all sides.
All right, all sides then, honey. But what I mean by that is that the EU somehow, I don't know how they've done it. I think I probably came to this conclusion after talking to my famous father, and you all know about that arsehole.
He loves him, really.
Some days. He is of the belief that the EU is a left-wing philosophy. That's how they've managed to portray themselves. The whole idea is it's left-wing. It's all about taking power off the fucking evil Tories, the bastard Tories who make all the working class poor, even though Labour's vested interest is to keep the working class poor, so they carry on voting for them. And that Brexit is
more people to make it more poorer.
Yeah, and Brexit is apparently a right-wing thing. And that's why you've got so many, even Momentum, the group that literally suck on Jeremy Corbyn's, imaginary penis. They're all fucking Remainers, which it makes no sense at all, because while we're in the single market, nothing can be reprivatized and renationalized because it would form a monopoly. And of course, it would go against the EU's corporate backers.
I'm going to have to stop you. I'm so excited. No, I'm sorry. With Jeremy Corbyn, the reason why Jeremy Corbyn has always been anti-EU is not because he's anti-establishment. He's not because he's against the power that the EU would give him. He's against the EU simply because, and this is the whole sole reason, which he has said countless times, he can't nationalise to the level he wants to nationalise because the European Union won't let him.
Yep.
That's the only reason why he's against the European Union, not because he's against their policies, because, as you quite rightly said, Magic, they are a left-wing organisation. It is as simple as that. They are left-wing. That's the reason why they say that we need to make us more equal, and some of us are more equal than others. By that, I mean, you voted to actually have democracy by keeping your borders. But what we voted was that you can't do that. So we're going to sanction you.
Well, I know that's the strange thing, is that you could say that, the whole purpose of the EU is left-wing because it's centralized power in the hands of just a few people, which is what always happens when you have particularly left-wing establishments. It's all about centralizing power into just one single block, and they control everything. Now, the way the EU works is slightly different to that, because you've got these technocrats, but they effectively do what their corporate lobbyists do, such as why we've just had Article 11 and 13 passed. That's come about because of endless lobbying from these big corporations who want all these centrist, legislations brought in.
Well,
It's not.
Let's be honest on this one. It hasn't come from the internet companies. The lobbyists that are doing this are all the legacy media. They are the ones that are pushing this, because even people like on YouTube and Google are going, wait a minute, our platform's going to be deplatformed. We don't want this. And it's the media that's been pushing this and putting a bias on it, and state-run media. So if it's state-run and they're saying we're being outcompeted by alternative media, which they are, then we need to put a stop to it. So they go to their state, and their state then votes in the European Union and go link tax and block everybody from uploading anything. Simple. Yep. We don't have to deal with alternative media then.
Yeah. But if I try and explain that to someone like my dad, no. That would probably be propaganda from the Murdoch press or something. It would be, oh no, they're just trying to spin it in a negative light. And it's like, no, they're going to heavily censor the internet throughout the European Union. They're going to have these algorithms that are in place when you try and upload anything that supposedly is looking for anything that's, copyrighted material. Yep. And it makes me laugh that they're trying to say, because I saw on the BBC earlier on, they said that, they're still allow like memes because there's an exception in the rules that they're allowing it for parody. But these algorithms won't understand that. They will just be programmed to find certain data and block it.
Yep.
So all this shit that, don't worry, you'll still be able to do memes and all that is absolute rubbish. Everything, they will filter everything. And also, conveniently around election time, you'll also find that certain other things you're trying to upload, opinions that aren't allowed, won't be able to be uploaded.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a quick story that I would like to quickly touch on, because let's be honest, we've touched Theresa May enough, and I think we'll go for another 20 minutes ish. The story that I want to ask you is, EU has put down now that they are going to have electronic speedometers. In other words, the speedometers are going to limit your speed when it reads that it's in a 30 mile per hour speed limit, or lower it if it's in the 20, or higher it if it's in the 50. It's going to limit your speed automatically. And this is derived from the EU, and we are supposedly accepting it. What do you think about that?
Funny enough, it's something that our government tried about 10 years ago. But unfortunately, the infrastructure and the technology just wasn't available then. But what they wanted to do was to put little GPS boxes on our cars that would monitor your, your driving through, the last 12 months. And then when you went to have your MOT, all that data would be uploaded to the DVLA database. And then if you'd been in any zones and been speeding or anything like that, or any traffic violations, it would automatically issue fines there and then. Now, I think the reason they're doing this is that because I've been reading sort of conflicting reports that some people are saying that the limiter will only be used on motorways when you go through the gantries, the ones where they flash up 50, even though the accident is cleared about 3 miles back and it's perfectly clear. And everybody would normally just speed back up to 70 or 90 or 120 depending on what you're driving. And it'd be absolutely fine. Whereas some people have said what you said, which is they're going to put in a system where it'll just be a blanket restriction on the speed no matter where you go. I mean, I can't see them doing that because it would cost a fucking fortune to implement.
Not really, because if you think about it, all you need to do is put it into an internet signal, and in most motorways and most things, you can put it into an internet signal where it can read it from the from the car's CPU. Because remember, all the limiters are going to be put into the new cars from 2022.
Yes, but for that to work, though, common sense, you would need to have complete what's called uninterrupted GPS everywhere. And that's not possible.
Yeah. That's the reason why people were so against it. But, it's government, so they don't give a shit about it. They're more about the optics than whether or not it can fucking work. Hence why we have people from What Car Magazine, Top Gear Magazine, coming in and saying every time that they've ever used this technology, it has completely and utterly destroyed it. Because when they go into a 5 mile per hour speed limit, as in advisory for a school or whatever, or car park, the limiter can go up to 120 because it's not registering what speed is.
Also,
it's amazing.
Also, supposedly, they're claiming that it won't be fixed in terms of the speed, which is apparently once you take your foot off the accelerator and accelerate again, the limiter will be removed. So it almost makes it ineffectual. But
it would do,
a lot of people have been saying, one, if you did do, like you said, the extreme version, which is all the roads are limited, one, you're going to kill off the executive market for cars, because what's the point of buying a souped up supercar or anything sporty if it can only do 70 miles an hour at maximum? Two, you're going to increase the likelihood of accidents, because once people are trying to overtake of similar speed, like you can get, because obviously the limiter on each car will never be exact. You'll have one car that will be stuck at 68, and you'll have one that can,
it's like lorries overtaken on the motorway. They're both limited to around about 60 or whatever it is, 70, but yet lorries will still try to overtake each other because they can see that they might have a mile per hour speed difference and take about 2 fucking miles to overtake each other.
Exactly. So you'll have one that's about 2 miles an hour faster, and he'll be trying to overtake constantly. And like you said, you'll see them going down the motorway, and it'll take them about fucking 2 or 3 miles to just about get, ahead of enough of the car that they can actually call it an overtake. It's all it's going to do is it's going to make driving more dangerous when people
I completely agree.
Yeah, and
I completely agree. The thing is that I think is absolutely amazing that nobody seems to really be going on about. What happens if you're in a natural disaster and you need to, say, for instance, run away from a tsunami? Now, I'm not saying England or Europe would have that, but in a natural disaster or a God-made whatever, then you need to run away from something. Your car's limited to 30 miles per hour because you're in a 30 mile per hour speed limit. That's not going to go well, is it?
No, that would take some explaining, wouldn't it? Which is they would have made it if only the car wasn't restricted.
Car's restricted to 30 miles per hour. If I can only just make it to the motorway, I can do 70.
I mean, one thing I've seen people talking about is that they said if it is as ridiculous as you were suggesting, then the value of cars from 2022 are just going to completely fall out because nobody will want them, and the second-hand market will just skyrocket, and everybody will be just hanging on to, their old cars for as absolutely long as possible.
I agree. I completely agree. I think if the limiters are put onto the cars, for the first year, people will buy the cars, but then they'll realize that the older cars won't have limiters on. So the older cars will be the ones that stay around because people don't want to be limited. People don't want to be told what they can and cannot do, especially when it comes to your own life. Yeah, people can have the illusion that the laws are going to be helping them or whatever. But if you tell somebody, look, I can't drive 20 miles per hour, even though it's your fucking car, people will end up getting really pissed off about it.
Yeah. Plus, there's also the snooping aspect of it as well. Because, as we said, if you've got a box in your car, that means they know where you are at all times.
No.
Which is...
No, I completely agree.
Which, again, is... if supposedly we've got, privacy laws that protect us from, intrusion from the state, well, that's just another stepping stone away from it.
Oh, about that. Have you heard what Sadiq Khan has decided that he's doing about global warming, about putting GPS trackers and microphone trackers onto children while they're walking to school to find out if the way that they walk to school has got pollution in it or not?
Do you know, I'm really starting to think that, when I did that show with Viper Sword and she suggested sending Sadiq Khan to the sun, it was only a joke at the time, but I'm seriously considering it might actually be a good idea.
I think it's an idea, my friend, especially considering that Sadiq Khan still has not done anything about knife crime and is more worried about his PR and public relations in general than he is about, stopping teenagers from dying. Maybe he's not the best mayor in the world. Oh, wait, no, sorry. He's the best mayor of all time, as far as I remember from his award that he got last month.
He took New York's, title away for them for the most, violent city in the world.
Yeah.
Was it the most amount of, murders and muggings? And I forget the exact statistics now, but London's now the world leader in, violent crime.
Yeah. As far as I can recall, there was specifically 119 deaths just due to gang-related stabbings. That's not including guns, by the way, which, yes, we do have gun deaths and people getting shot with shotguns. Quite a lot, as well as semi-automatic weapons. We have that, believe it or not, in our very heavily regulated gun-fearing country.
Well, wait a minute. How is that possible? Common sense. We're a gun-free country. How is it possible that criminals have guns? I'm sorry. I thought the whole purpose of banning guns was so that nobody can have guns to kill people with. Are you trying to tell me that gun legislation actually doesn't work?
It's not about the legislation, you see. It's about the people that are breaking the legislation. The legislation is sound, you see. But, somehow criminals don't give a fuck what's on a piece of paper. Somehow.
It's no good. One of us is going to have to go shoot up a mosque because that's the only way they'll get the guns off these criminals. Because once May comes out and goes to a mosque this Sunday and hugs a Muslim, the criminals will be so overcome with emotion that they'll go on Twitter and say that we're so sorry.
Do you know what's really funny? Not the situation that you're creating, but what's really funny is the language that you use. Because remember when Yobs and all that sort of thing and all the chavs and everything else like that were all about and all the rage, the riots and everything that Mr. Lammy created. Helped. Stopped. You know what I meant, Lammy. Honest. But wasn't David Cameron the one that actually come out and said, all you need to do is hug a chav. You need to hug a hoodie.
Hug a thug.
Yeah, hug a hoodie, I believe it was the initiative. And that worked out well, didn't it?
It did, yeah, because you give the thug a hug, and then he'd get you into a bear hug and then beat the shit out of you.
That definitely was something that happened. Stabbings happened with hugs.
They did. They'd stab you and then take your wallet. So that worked out well.
But he did it in love. They did it with love.
He never actually did it himself, I noticed.
Let's be honest, David Cameron never left Westminster. when he did that was to go to other major European countries, cities. Sorry, cities.
Yeah, and not to the violent part either.
No, I'd like to see any of our politicians go to Sweden at this moment in time and walk to school with some children. I'd love to see that.
I'd love to see anybody with money, anybody who's ever gone on Twitter and said, you know, either refugees welcome or that, you know, no person is illegal and all that sort of shit. I'd like to see them move to to Slough or to any of them other shitty parts of London and actually live with the problem they've created.
Sorry, I just read the chat. Ain't Jack just put into reply, I'm guessing it's to the Hug a Hoodie initiative. And he put, did that initiative result in lots of pregnant liberals and single mothers? I think it did.
I've got a feeling that that was already a major problem. So you probably maybe created a few extra brain babies.
Everything's racist.
No, I meant unwashed. I didn't mean skin color.
You mean shit babies?
Shit babies, yes. Very shitty, dirty.
God damn it. God damn it. And I got derailed again. Sorry.
We love you, Mrs. May. We just don't want to talk about you.
No, that can't be asked with Mrs. May. The thing is with that aspect is that it's now so blatantly obvious that the whole of democracy, the whole of UK democracy anyway, though you could presume at this moment in time that possibly all of democracy, is just a facade. It's just a show. It's just them trying to pretend that they're for the people, but they're just autocratic in their definition. They just want to do what they think is best, regardless of what the people voted to tell them to fucking do. It's just amazing to me that this is... People are so not bent out of shape about it. Now, I don't give... As I've said this before, I don't care if you voted Remain, I don't care if you voted Leave. If you look at the way that this government has upheld its democratic rights and its democratic, should we say, policies, the way it's supposed to enact democracy, let's say that, then why is it the case that nobody's up in arms about this not happening? You don't have to support either or be against. It's a case of looking at democracy and going, yeah, it's not really working. What happens if this was something that Remainers actually really believed in and it was something that they wanted? Would they be so quiet about what's going on, about how democracy is literally being pulled from underneath your own feet? Literally, the rug is being pulled. The illusion of democracy is now gone. We don't care what you bloody voted. You didn't vote the right way because you're stupid. Literally, words from MPs' mouths.
Yeah. I suppose maybe we would have a little bit more respect if they just said, look, we're rich and we want to carry on getting richer. And you're potentially putting a stop to that. So pack it in, will you? And, at least if there was a little bit of a hint of truth in there, which is... And it's the same with all those people out protesting over the weekend. The million marchers, apparently, that only turned out to be about 300,000 at most. The
330-something-thousand, yeah.
Yes.
And that is the absolute most, and that's done by a leftist organisation called Full Fact.
Yeah, and apparently if it had been more, they would have all been crushed.
Yes.
Yes. The reason they are doing what they're doing is because you are basically seeing, and also just one thing before I carry on, I'd just like to say, because I'm obviously progressive, they were very hideously white, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yes.
Yes. Disgusting. No diversity. But
that goes back to my point. That does go back to my point where all of the people that are on Remain was saying that, people that voted Brexit were only voting for the elites. Why is it the elites are so vocal about not having Brexit then?
Well, I said that's it's very simple. Common sense is that it always comes back to money. That's always what it is. If you dig deep into anybody who really truly wants to remain, especially the ones who are really pissy and moany and get really bitter about it, the truth is that people have some kind of skin in the game in some respects. I mean, my boss is a real bitter and twisted Remainer, and he likes to make out that, Brexiteers are fucking idiots and economically illiterate and all this shit. Where the truth is, he just generally thinks that he's going to be worse off in his retirement because of Brexit. That's all it is. He's got.
Wasn't he the one that said that he voted purely as well because he wanted to go away on holiday?
No, that was somebody else. This bloke, this bloke generally is just your typical middle class boomer who wants the status quo maintained until he can retire. You know, he's got like a ridiculously large pension pot. He's got stocks and shares, and so it's he's
an elitist. Then basically, he's somebody who you classify as an elite, or at least middle class elite.
I wouldn't say necessarily elitist, just a complete and utter selfish wanker. Doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody else except him and his wealth. And he has an expectation of the lifestyle he wants when he retires, and anything that puts that at threat, must be scorned. And it's just, and it makes me ashamed really that is the kind of people we have in this country. Just absolute fucking selfish bastards. They don't give a flying fuck about anybody else except them and their wealth. And that's kind of why I do get annoyed at my father, because he still sees himself as that, trade unionist, labor supporting. But as my own grandfather said to me, a 90-year-old bloke who's always saying that he's going to die this year and then never does, he's very philosophical on it, which is, he said that your father has become the thing he claims to hate. He is now a comfortable, fairly well-off man. He's retired. He's got money. His house, mortgage is paid off. He's comfortable. So he wants the status quo maintained.
Yep.
And you try and tell him that. No. It's because the evil Tories, blah, blah, blah. And you get all these sound bites and shit. And but it really is surprising, the complete lack of self-awareness. And it's a shame that Sheffield Loafer's not here, because I love quoting his hero, old George Carlin, which is, when you consider how stupid half the population are, when you consider that the other half are even stupider than that. It really does ring true. Really does.
Yep. No, I completely not there with you. The thing is, I really hate with Remainers themselves. They claim, not because they voted Remain, let's get that out of the way. Everybody's entitled to have their opinion, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's their fucking opinion, so they're allowed it. I wouldn't want to take it away either. But the point that I have with Remainers is that they say that it's under the guise of democracy to have a second vote. They say that it's under the guise of having democracy to rerun the referendum, to be able to rerun all of this and to vote on the deal and to do this and to do that. Why is it not undemocratic to actually do Brexit? Why is it only democratic to go against it by having other votes? And if it was so democratic to have votes, why aren't we voting on the actual deal? And by the actual deal, I mean the options that are put in front of us. And no, we can't stay in the customs union. No, we can't stay in the single market. And no, we cannot have May's deal, because all of them are not us leaving the goddamn European Union, which was voted on by the people. The same thing is why you as Remainers keep on going back and saying, oh no, we want democracy to run true. Why is Remain on the ballot paper? Why do you want Remain on the ballot paper if you just want a referendum on the fucking deal? You don't. You want to rechange history. You want to rerun what was already there. But, under the guise of democracy. But, I know what I want, but you don't. You're too stupid. You have no idea what Brexit will do to the country. No, we just lived without a European Union for thousands of years, possibly even longer than that. History is a long time, Sorry, my own rant.
No, that was very good rant. I must give you 10 out of 10 for that one. Project Fear before the referendum, exactly the same, because you'll say to them, well, what happened to all the doom and gloom that was going to happen after the vote? And they'll say, oh no, that was when we left. No, it wasn't. They quite clearly stated, and if you look at that pamphlet that we all got, It quite
What, you
clearly
mean the one that
states.
cost £9 million from the government before the
That's right.
referendum even started?
That's right. Yes, it says quite clearly on there that a vote to leave will cause all these things. And how many of them happened? None. Not one fucking thing. We did not lose 500,000 jobs. We didn't go instantly into recession. Old Gideon didn't have to do his emergency budget and slash loads of services and put taxes up. None of it happened. Well, admittedly, Gideon didn't need to because he got sacked. But,
Yeah.
but
Do you know
the
what I
point...
find funny? I know that you're in the middle of a
No, carry on.
great stuff, but Cheney, the head of the Bank of England, the Canadian that's head of Bank of England, whatever, literally come out and said that no deal Brexit will not be the end of the world. It is not as bad as we forecasted. That in itself should be enough for every single Remainer that was a doomsayer to go, maybe we were wrong. When literally the leader of the Bank of England comes out and says, it's not that bad.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I give them full credit. They did really go full on with the bullshit. But I was surprised when Scotland voted heavily to remain, because I got the impression they were still quite bitter and angry about how much they'd been lied to about their own referendum just, a year or two before. And you talk to a lot of Scots in the sort of rural areas. They absolutely despise the BBC now because they said that it was just pure and utter propaganda from BBC Scotland at the time. And they said they don't believe a fucking word they now say.
Yeah. Yeah. You know why? Biasness. Because they have the biasness that they want to leave a political union with the United Kingdom to be by themselves, which comes into the cognitive dissonance of the independent Scottish people. We want to, or some independent Scottish people, should I say, we want to leave the political union of the United Kingdom because they control what we're going to do and what we're going to say. But we want to be part of the European Union because what? Because they tell you what to do and what to say? What laws that you can do? I never understood that cognitive dissonance. We're leaving one because they tell us what to do, but we want to join the other because they don't tell us what to do? I've never understood that.
Again, when you actually look at who runs the SNP, Sturgeon and Salmon and all the others, pretty much most of the members of the SNP, they like to portray themselves
Can we change the letters around? Can we change it to the NSP? Because that's what it really is.
Well, they call themselves the Scottish National Party. Remember when we had the BNP? Apparently that was heavily racist and scorned. But if you call it Scottish Nationalist, it's perfectly fine, apparently. It makes you left-wing. But they are all from, they portray themselves as left-wing and, all this shit. But they're all from very comfortable backgrounds. And like Sturgeon and Salmon, I'm pretty certain that they were trained as solicitors, same way that fucking arsehole Khan was. So,
and Tony Blair.
And, oh yes, don't forget, Lord Sage.
Human rights lawyer Tony Blair,
yeah.
Believe it or not, and his wife, that was a human rights lawyer, that thought it was a good idea to go to war.
Yeah, Tony Booth's daughter, who was in the Confessions of soft porno films from the 70s, if anybody's interested.
Oh, lovely. I do love a good Bush.
Yes. Do you love a good George?
No,
or Jeb.
I like Barbara.
Oh, good Barbara Bush. Yes. Yeah, it's very dead these days. But
unfortunately, yes, mate. Yes.
But are you trying to do a me and derail everything now?
Sorry.
I know my own tactics when they're being played. But yeah, they're all rich bastards. And as typical rich bastards, they love the status quo, and they want it maintained because it's going to make them very, very wealthy. And all politicians, and that's why I suppose they really despise Trump the most, is that because politicians these days are just people who work for lobbyists. Because they want to enrich themselves, and also when they leave politics, have a nice, cushy board to go and be a member of, or maybe get like an envoy job like Mr. Blair did when he left.
Or you can be a head of a newspaper and an organization, or work in, I don't know.
I know that they talk about giving satirists, a field day when they announced that he was peace envoy to the Middle East. I mean, for fuck's sake, that's like making George Bush, environmental minister of fucking Iraq or something. It's just, it's just there's no sense of irony in it for them at all. But it's all about
irony is dead. It's just what needs to be done. He knows the best thing. After all, he bumped the shit out of it, so he should know the way of making peace, right?
Well, he certainly knew how to make bits and pieces out of the Middle East, because that's all that was fucking. That was all that was left of it. Yeah, I mean, when you consider all they really did in Afghanistan was turn big rocks into little rocks. They didn't really change anything, but the whole purpose, though, is it's just rich people ensuring that other rich people, normally even richer people than them, continue to get wealthier. That's the end game of everything, really. And it's always the answer to every, well, probably about 99% of it, because you will always have ideologue idiots. Like, I still can't quite figure out why Owen Jones is so keen on the European Union, but it's probably, like you said, they see the centralized power as desirable, even though the EU in its current form sucks on the cock of corporations, and Owen Jones doesn't like corporations because everything should be owned by the state, apparently. So you see, it's a slight contradiction there in a way.
I think it's a bigger contradiction than slight, my friend. But for the last, when was Obama put into place? Was it 2005, 2006? I can't fucking.
2008.
Since 2008 up to 2016, you can quite easily say that in most countries apart from the UK, we've had socialized governments and socialistic governments in most European countries. Now look at how the European Union in itself is starting to collapse. Look how before Trump took power, how the economy in the US was tanking. And apparently that's all capitalists' fault. Apparently the system is so crap that capitalism destroys everything. Or is it the fact of governments taking control and thinking that they know better than actual free markets? I wonder what it could be. I can't think what. I'll leave that up to you guys.
Yeah. Well, considering that the true meaning of free market capitalism died during the last Great Recession, because when they decided to allow the banks to privatize profits but then socialize the losses, it basically destroyed the whole idea that the market just solves everything. The whole idea is the whole banking system should have been allowed to collapse. We should have done exactly what Ireland did, let it collapse, jail all the fucking bankers.
In Iceland, not Ireland.
Iceland, and sorry. Island, fucking hell, yeah. Well, we might have had a slightly less cucked prime minister if that had happened, but that's a discussion for another day. But the
Eileen Foster. Sorry.
You waste this, Joe. But that's what should have happened. But of course, instead, the politicians weren't going to let the men who basically funded their careers into Congress or into the presidential seat in the first place. They weren't going to let them go under. And, I find it ironic that after the bailouts, the first thing that, the head of Goldman Sachs did was, did a speech saying that we've now learned our lesson and, mistakes like this can't happen again. And then announced the highest quarterly bonuses for the board of the bank. Yeah. It's that completely missing the irony, Anybody who had a satirical take on it could have just ripped that to pieces, but they don't, because
they're not allowed to now, are they? Because otherwise it's completely against the government. You can't go against a socialist government. Look how many people were basically told that they couldn't take the piss out of Jeremy Corbyn, and they couldn't take the piss out of the Tory government, how they couldn't take the piss out of the European Union, Obama. It's amazing because proper satire is now gone. You can't have a spit and image type of program which literally spat at everybody because that's what made it so fun. Now it's just a case of, oh, you see right wingers, we're going to take the piss out of them. Okay, that not every right winger has a really good idea or grasp of politics, sure, but nor does the left. It's not just predominantly one side that's bad.
Yeah,
we need to really take the piss out of all of us. Otherwise, we won't get better or realize we're too fucked.
Yes, yeah, it is. When you think about it, when you stop and you think about it, it feels like you're gently swallowing the black pill, and you don't want to. You want to keep thinking to yourself, no, there's still a way out of all this. Things can actually improve, and it's like, well, first they sanitized mainstream entertainment, and somebody who I know on Tinternet who apparently worked in or worked for the BBC as an independent contractor, and I was asking him, how did we get to the point now where the BBC is now just pure establishment? Because I can still remember Hutton inquiry during the early noughties, with the Iraq war, and Dr. David Kelly being found dead on the park bench and all that happened.
Oh, don't forget the doctor's suicide in his own house.
Yes. Now,
who was actually investigating, going to be a whistleblower about what was going on. But that was the time, or the last time I can really remember, that the BBC actually reported and went against government, narrative effectively. And he told me that basically what happened is that Blair sent his cronies in, sacked a load of higher members of the BBC Trust, and got rid of, I think it was Greg Dyke at the time. He was the chairman. Yes.
So all of them got thrown out, and basically all his cronies got put in. And said ever since then, the BBC has always towed the line. Doesn't matter which party, Labour or Conservative, it always toes the line. And it's now just stockpiled with cronies of the establishment, and that's why they're completely biased towards anything the state now wants to push. And as we now know, they've got into the habit of pushing sort of far left rhetoric because it's an easier way of shutting down dissertation and debate.
Yep.
And he said, they've done it. It's basically, it started quietly under Thatcher's regime, but although it wasn't anywhere near as bad as once New Labour got in, which was they wanted to centralise everything.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you've had for the last sort of 20 years. Is everything being, Whitehall now controls far more than it once did. It's all been, the BBC, the TV networks, everything is now sort of London centric in this sort of, liberal bubble.
Yep.
And so as far as they're concerned, that's the thinking and that's the narrative that must always now be pushed. Whatever the establishment want, it must be pushed and it must not be questioned.
Yep. And if anybody wants to even try and refute any of that, which be our guess, you can, obviously. But just look at the way that the European Union has literally just decided that they're going to pass Article 11 and Article 13. Literally censoring everyone that has an opinion that can link to stories and actually talk about the stories. That also stops people from talking about stories when they have their own footage of said stories, by the way, because you would have to link to the story to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's basically, when we all kind of knew it would happen eventually, is that the internet allowed us to talk to each other in a way we've never been able to before. And definitely the turning point was 2016, because they did not expect the two things that happened that year to happen. They didn't expect Brexit, and they certainly did not expect Trump to win.
Nope.
I think if 2016 had gone the way it had, Hillary was now in the White House and we'd have voted to stay in. And funnily enough, I doubt there'd be any calls for a second vote because obviously we have to keep voting until the establishment gets what it wants. I'm pretty certain that we would still have a copyright, some kind of directive coming in, but it wouldn't be anything like it is now. And I've predicted that 2019, and I could be wrong, but 2019 and early 2020, they are going to go to town on the internet because they do not want Trump to win again. I don't think they'll stop him because
it goes deeper than that, my friend. I think it goes deeper than that. I think because most of the stuff at this moment in time is to do with Europe, I think they know that this federal states of the European Union or federal states of Europe or whatever is actually was coming to fruition. And because people were able to talk about what was going on, and because the internet is such a great place for people to whistleblow as well, and for stories to originally emerge from there because they're willing to obviously publish the stories, they need to stop it. So the way that you stop the stories from coming forward about how the establishment is trying to keep everything the way it is or trying to push forward. You remember when Nick Clegg and Ed Miliband both said that there was not going to ever be a European Union's army. It was a conspiracy theory. Everybody from the European Union side all said, no, it's a conspiracy theory. We're not even thinking of it. By the way, next year, after it's ratified, first lot of intake of European Union army soldiers will be starting to take effect. Conspiracy theory? Oh, probably not. But guess what? You won't be able to talk about that anymore. People like Nigel Farage won't be able to say that on streets anymore, won't be able to say that on newspapers or anything else like that. No, why? Because he'll be censored, which means that he won't even be able to say it on internet anymore. Places like LBC and places like that do all of these radio shows and internet radio, no, not in the European Union. No, why? No link tax. Every time you talk about a story, you're going to have to pay money. You won't be able to do anything. You can't reference to a story like we have done today and go, well, you know, May's death and everything else like that. Well, what's the context? You can't do a story without showing parts of it or even linking to it. There's just no way of doing it. And people saying, oh, we'll take pictures of the story and do it as a screenshot. That way we're not showing the story. Do people not realize that copyright also works on pictures as well? So, yeah, doesn't work that way. Not going to work. The only way you'll probably be able to get around it is one of those VPNs where you can transfer it to being in America or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I know that China recently banned VPNs over there because obviously that was one way around their few people who still try to resist the Communist Party of being able to access part of the internet that they can't. But I'm sure that most establishments in the West look upon the Chinese government with awe. That is what they want. They want to just be able to censor and control people however they want. And I bet they absolutely love the rating system they're bringing in for people, which is that if you have a low personal score, you will be denied things such as bank accounts or being able to send your child to certain schools and things like that. And it's all based on how good and obedient, slave of the state you are. You know, if you ever dare question the communist government or anything like that, you'll have a low score and you basically will be unpersoned. I mean, that is about as Orwellian as you can possibly get.
Well, there's worse ways of being that way. But yes, at this moment in time, I do believe that the West in general, the governments that are supposed to be there for freedom and democracy and blah, 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 are literally taking the model of China and deciding that this is going to work for us. This is going to work.
Well, there is an economist called Mark Blyth. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a Scottish chap who I think now lives in America. And I've seen a couple of his talks before. And
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to show that, what you just sent me, Mr. Bollocks, because that's completely and utterly fucking ridiculous.
Oh, you've seen it. I forgot about that for a sec. Yes. Old Anna Salisbury proving once again
that she's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that she has about the same intelligence as an actual Nazi that she was accused of being.
Well, I don't know. At least Nazis actually knew what the fuck.
Well, at least Nazis knew which war they were fighting, anyway.
Yeah, which we'll get on to that. Right,
I get a feeling that people are going to have to clip that because it probably won't stay that way forever.
No, which is actually why we're here. Very, very, very quickly, guys. Let me just go control print screen. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I believe most of the comments below are tearing her to shreds. Not that doesn't normally happen when she puts out more horse shit.
Oh, she's just a fucking idiot. So this is Anna Soubry, obviously one of the leaders of the independence group. Because we're not a party, but we're a group.
We're not a party, otherwise we'd have to declare our donors, and we don't want to do that.
Yes, for the moment, yes, because obviously we understand that most of them will probably be foreign donors. I'm guessing from Europe. I'm guessing from around Brussels. But, you know, speculation. So she puts very lovely, Brexit, the most important decision facing our country since World War III. Yes. Yes. World War III. I don't know if she can count. I don't know if she knows something that we don't know. To be fair, she probably does. But today, in a historical debate in Parliament, and there is no motion or amendment, no position. Where the fuck are the commas? Sorry. Position or speech from our government. What a declaration of duty. Sorry. That's not how you say that word. I'm tired. I'm tired. Magic bollocks, Reed.
Oh, do I have to? It's quite
Just the
depressing,
last
really.
bit. Just the last four words, 5 words. I'll count as well. Mash is bad.
What a dereliction of duty.
Yeah, dereliction. There we go.
Yeah, shameful. The Independent. Oh, they're not even calling themselves the Independent Group now.
I think that she means the newspaper.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the Independent fucking newspaper's hashtag, isn't it?
No, that's the.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I don't use Twitter, so I don't know how it works. But yeah, I'd like to think that that's just an intern that she's got doing her Twitter for her, but no, that probably is just showing how incredibly dumb she really is.
I absolutely agree with you. Obviously, let's sidestep World War III for a second. I mean, we will get to it, but let's just sidestep it for the moment because that's the funniest part.
Yes.
So today, in a historical debate in Parliament, you mean the fact that the Commons has decided to take control away from the government to be able to decide itself what it wants to do rather than being held accountable to the electorate? That's definitely historic. It's definitely the destruction of democracy as I well know it. But what do you think, Mr. Bollocks?
Oh, I think a lot of things, common sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably think more than Anna Salisbury ever does, but or ever did. We don't know if she's actually clinically brain dead or not.
Well, she still moves.
This is what happens when you turn TV personalities into politicians. Now, I know that sounds like I could be taking a dig at Trump, but there's a difference. He was also a successful businessman who turned $1 million into more than $1 billion. I love the way they keep slagging him off saying, oh, but, you know, he went bankrupt so many times. Doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, he became a successful billionaire.
Again and again and again. You
don't find many people who just end up, you know, pissed in the gutter and saying like, oh, if I only had one more chance, I'd have been a billionaire. That doesn't mean that he's a failure. Trump is a billionaire. He's a successful man, and whether or not he did it morally or immorally, it doesn't matter. You know, there ain't many moral billionaires. I don't think. I think every single one of them has lots of skeletons in the closet, but you cannot say he's not successful.
But the only difference with Donald Trump and other politicians is the fact that Donald Trump is normally up front with his business partners, where politicians say that they're going to do stuff, and they just get rich from it. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders. How many houses does he have?
Oh, he has a lot more since he endorsed Hillary.
I can't think why. I mean, a large count was 3, wasn't it?
That's the kind of socialism he likes.
Yes. I will help government.
But yeah, I don't really know what to think of Anna Salisbury. I know. Well, actually, I can make a prediction if you want. That is that I don't think she's going to be an MP after the next election.
I'm not going to say what I think was going to happen to her because I think that something might happen similar to Joe Cox. I don't want it to happen because she would be held up as a martyr for it.
I don't know, because they tend to pick somebody who's not that well known and is probably still quite liked. People
but she's
know
not
Anna
liked
Salisbury,
before.
and I think there would be probably a national celebration.
I don't think they would, though. I really don't think they would. I think it would be a perfect story. No, the reason why I think it would be a perfect story is, Remainer that decides that she's going to fight for what she believes in and everything else like that. The strong, independent woman that decided to go against the whole of her party was
And the
gunned
whole
down by a
country, yeah.
racist white man.
Well, don't forget, didn't she put a tweet out last Friday, I think it was, saying that she couldn't go back home this weekend because she's been getting death threats. And some other fucking Remainer bitch put up another tweet saying it's disgusting that that every publication that has ever used the term Ramona has brought this level of violence to people like Anna Salisbury and all this crap.
Of course it has. It has nothing to do with the fact that Anna's decided to go against her own fucking constituents and they're the ones that are pissed off at her. Couldn't be anything to do with that.
Yeah, and probably, like we know, most supposed hate crimes these days turn out to be hoaxes as well, or either made up. I'm not talking about anybody in particular.
Yeah, they also get charges dropped as well, don't they, Smollett?
It's a bit of a nasty cough you got there, common sense, you know.
Oh, sorry.
Smollett.
It's supposed to be a cough. I forgot about that. Smollett! sorry, I forgot about that. Cunt.
Yeah, connected target. Yeah, but
something like that.
Yeah, but I'm being attacked in the chat for not continuing my talk on Mark Blythe. Mr. Sheffield Loafer is very insistent that I talk about him, so I'm assuming he knows who I'm referring to. He's a very he looks very Scottish, I must admit, in that he is overweight and he has a beard, but he is actually quite a smart man, and he because he's an interesting character because he has no problem with the European Union like most academics don't, but he absolutely despises the euro. And his theory with the euro, he said his belief is the reason the euro was created was to drive Western European wages down to Eastern European levels.
Yes, it was.
And his sort of take is that the Americans of the 1950s, who were very keen on the idea of having this united Europe, kind of wanted to have their own sort of competitor with the Far East and Russia at the time. And also, especially now that that China has grown to this superpower, the idea of them having their own controlled, sort of very cheap labored area is very, very desirable. But of course, that's all now been thrown in to the long grass because they've now got a president who would very happily see it destroyed.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God on that one. And I'm not even fucking religious.
Yeah, I'm sure, Trump was... I wouldn't say he would interfere in the Brexit process, but, I mean, you've had, his son come out and say, May, you should have listened to my dad. So the indication is there, which is, we know you're fucking it up, and we know you're probably deliberately fucking it up, and we're going to let people know that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think this from the start. If anybody, I've noticed that a lot of left-wingers will go, oh, well, they're giving people that speak about Brexit more time on the telly. If you look at it objectively, and yes, it is hard for me to do that as well, but if you do look at it objectively, I believe it's around about 4 or 5 to 1 for leavers speaking about Brexit to one Brexiteer speaking on every single BBC channel or news channel. I believe there was an independent study on that as well.
They obviously don't watch a lot of Question Time, do they?
What, you mean when they have literally a 4-on-1, including the bloody Fiona Bruce?
It's only really when they go to certain towns that it's the only thing that saves the program is the audience.
Yes, literally, the audience is literally the only people, bar the token people that have Brexit on their brains. Normally, the people in the audience are the ones going, "But we voted to leave. We should leave."
Yeah.
Yeah, they're generally the remainers of the group.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange situation, but
I think on that very, very strange situation, we're going to have to call it tonight.
okay, fair enough. I mean, we could have probably gone on for hours, but
We always can.
the truth is, common sense is that I think it's getting to the point that I think me and you are going to have to seize power and sort all this shit out.
I tried that. I couldn't. My doctor said I'm not allowed.
I don't mean, democratically. I think we're going to have to do it by force.
Yeah, my doctor still said I'm not allowed.
I'm overruling the doctor. We're going down to Westminster tomorrow, and we're seizing control.
Oh,
and I mean, I'm going to make RPR Minister of Wales.
Do we need a minister for Wales? It's such a small little sliver of land. Do we really need it?
Oh no, I want him to, dish out Bombay mix, every day to all Welshmen. That's their daily meal. And I want the
don't forget to give them a free sheep.
I want the pot noodle mines, back to 24 hours a day. And I'm definitely going to make B. She's going to be Mayor of London.
She's going to be Health Minister.
Mayor of London. Memes is going to be ambassador for the United States, which I think would be fan-fucking-tastic.
Let's be honest, nothing would get fucking done, but it would be fantastic.
Yeah. MC would be peace envoy to the Middle East.
I think we're now going to stop. We're now going to stop.
And Aunt Jack, I really don't know. He seems he seems like he seems like he wants to kill.
So culture minister.
Definitely sort of maybe Minister of War or something. I don't know.
No, he's got to be culture minister.
Okay, culture minister it is.
The reason why is because he knows so much about the culture.
Yeah.
And wants to kill everybody from it. Then again, so does MC. So there's not much difference.
I think he's gone as well now, which is a shame, because I think he would like that.
I think he would. I'm sure he'll come back and listen at some point.
Oh.
But anyway, is that your final word, or do you have something you actually want to say?
I have one suggestion to everybody if they're willing to listen. Go on Amazon and order a yellow vest. I believe they're about £5 each.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a few for your family and friends, and obviously get some eye protection as well. Very important. And and see if you can organize a little bus trip down to London. And see if you could do it regularly, like every Saturday and Sunday for the next 5 or 6 months. And bring cricket bats, baseball bats, butter knives. They're very, very dangerous. And sporks, anything you can get your hands on. Bring them with you.
Ice picks.
Yeah. Ice picks, yeah.
You might want to climb some stuff.
Yeah, nail clippers, you name it. Bring it along.
No, bring a pair of scissors. You might want to do your toenails while you're there.
Yes, and as B said, we will commemorate those we lost in World War III. Yeah.
Yes, we will commemorate all that were lost in a great meme war of World War III.
Yes, bless you all. So anyway, that's all from me. So good night, everybody, and sleep well.
Did you not want to plug your channel at all, sir?
My channel is resting at the moment, so I've got fuck all to plug. So if you want to go and have a look at the, what's left of my channel, all the old videos are there, but you probably watched them all anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
what do you mean? Probably you're not that important.
Says you. I was going to make you my my chancellor, but fuck you. You can be Minister of Carpets now or something.
Oh, I like carpets.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to go and have a look, by all means. But there's very little point because I can't be asked at the moment. I might start doing something again when I get motivation back, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah, after Article 11 and 13 have kicked in, he'll do something then.
Yeah, because it'll be great putting my non-existent video up, and you'll be able to not watch it. Exactly. Along with all our small content creators. So I look forward to seeing you then.
And by the way, if you think it's going to be any different to what he does now, then you're sorely mistaken, because he doesn't put any videos up.
Nope. you know, I think I'd make a fantastic politician because I am a lazy bastard. I make no bones about it. I would happily collect 67,000 grand a year just to sit it somewhere and do very little.
Yeah, I'm
Sounds
with
like
you.
my current job, actually.
Well, you better not let your asshole with a boss hear you say that.
Oh, well, this is the great thing is that I don't use the name Magic Bollocks when I'm at work, so he doesn't know who I am on here. So fuck you, you arrogant shit.
Are you sure?
Even if he does, fuck you, you arrogant cunt.
Fair enough. Fair enough. They have postponed the option secures clear backing in Commons vote.
What does that mean?
Brexit chaos continues as MP fails to find a majority for alternative to Theresa May's deal.
So they all failed then.
At this moment in time, yes, they seem to. Yes.
What a shame. My emotions are getting the better of me. I'm about as emotional as Memes is when another one of his exes leave.
Oh dear. You're that upset. You're that upset.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, as we're all just about to go to Disneyland and leave our missuses in a wave machine, I'm going to say bye. So thank you very much, guys. Cheers for watching. Don't forget to like and share. And please do share this as much as possible. Help us out as much as you can. That being said, bye-bye, guys.